And he said, "You can't kick me out of the party," which is a funny reaction to it. So it's going. So I just want to kind of set the stage for where we're at. Let's turn the camera this way. Got a large group of people coming in. We're going to be asking some questions here as they come. If we turn it back over here, these folks are pumped up to be here. Super excited for Kamala. Wait, who do you think the special guest is going to be tonight? Any ideas?
I hope Beyonce. I hope Beyonce.
That's the second one I've heard. Any other special guests? Who do you think it's going to be? Anybody?
Oh, it's going to be Kamala Harris, and there's no doubt.
We know Kamala, yeah, we know that, but who's the special guest? They say there's somebody else extra special.
If it's not Beyonce, you're going to hear me from the back screaming, saying, well, where is she?
Okay, one last question. Some people are saying Democrats have run the inner cities for 50 plus years, yet the black community still continues to vote for them. Do you think the Democrats have sold out the black community, or is it right for the black community to continue to vote for Democrats?
I think it's just the lens on how you approach the issue. I think the party is ripe for communities, specifically communities of color, to be empowered. And if this is not the leader that is going to take us into the next century of progression, I don't think there is one. I mean, I feel like there's been so many opportunities, but there are no opportunities from the other party. Those are false opportunities that have not allowed us to get to where we need to be in terms of evolution, in terms of progress, challenging race disparate outcomes that have been institutionalized in our government.
That's my point. You look at these communities, like, Chicago, perfect example, 60 years, Democrat run. Baltimore, 50 years, Democrat run. New York, all of these cities claiming, and we saw all the riots in BLM, claiming that the problems come from the politicians, but they've been run by Democrats. Many of them, people of color. Baltimore, people of color for decades. How do you blame Republicans, President Trump, for that?
Well, are we all just blaming Trump? I'm happy to just blame Trump.
I don't want to put words in your mouth.
Yeah, no. I'm happy to just blame Trump too, but I'd rather, if we're going to talk about comparing the parties, please tell me the Republican issues that are going to change the circumstances of where we are. And then if there's something on the table that is an alternative, or we can all come together to address them, I'm happy to approach it that way. But right now, for where we are today, we have two choices, period.
Yeah. So opportunity zones under President Trump, First Step Acts, letting people out of the Clinton crime bill, 50,000 incarcerated, mostly minorities, President Trump let out, lowest unemployment in the black community. I mean, there were some good things until COVID came along. And then the question I have, and I know you got to get in there. The question I have is,
and even with those things, because that's a lot.
Not good.
It's a compound question you're asking. I'm a lawyer, so I want to parcel it out.
Sure.
All of those things are tokenism and don't speak to the institutional structure.
They don't have a direct impact on people's lives?
Let me tell you what had a direct impact on people's lives. His appointment of the private jail and prison industries to the reform efforts that stopped them. Let me tell you what had a direct impact on the black community, of him reducing the Department of Justice and the Civil Rights Division that stopped all of the civilian oversight for law enforcement. Let me tell you what had an impact on people of color. The fact that we couldn't get the George Floyd Bill Act properly because we didn't have participation from the Republican Party. Those are specific things under leadership that has to be held accountable for communities of color specifically.
Hey guys, I think we might be losing the signal there down in the field, but of course that's Ben Bergquam. Guys, let's work on Denver. Let's see if we can work on getting Ben Bergquam back up. I'd like to be able to continue that. Hopefully they're recording on their end as well, so we can get that, as well as Kinzinger. Wanted to play though. I know there's a clip that Ben actually recorded prior to all this, where he was able to question one of the attendees of the DNC. Let's play that now.
Congresswoman Escobar, when Trump wins, how many politicians do you think we're going to find out are paid off by the cartels?
I don't know. Maybe Donald Trump is paid off by the cartels.
Yeah, you'd have to look at the ones that are supporting open borders.
That's when we saw there's not a single Democrat that supports open borders.
Well, their policies do.
The only people you'll see talking about open borders are folks like you.
Because we're telling the truth.
And in fact,
because we're telling the truth.
Research shows that it's the Republican messaging that has helped fuel it. You have a good night.
You too. Thank you, Congresswoman. That's my friend Veronica Escobar. We'll find out. We'll find out when Trump wins.
All right, I'm told that we've got Bergquam back in the field. Let's go back to him now. Ben, what just happened there?
It was just getting good. So that was actually the chief of staff. How funny is that? That was Kamala Harris's chief of staff for 10 years. First name's Paul. The last name, got his contact. I'm going to be reaching out to him. Really great conversation. We're getting into it. The last question I was going to ask you had to run in is, give me one policy The one thing that we don't have, so you have all these things. Oh, the President Trump is racist. He's all misogynist. All this. All you have from the left, everything we've heard from this building are platitudes. It's joy. It's empathy. It's this. It's that. No plans, and the plans they have talked about are terrible. But that was a great conversation. I'm looking forward to continuing that one. Now, Jack, I want to show you this. By the way, Veronica Escobar, if you're watching this, that's the most time she's given me ever, I think, and she was getting a little hot. But the real truth is, I think the number is very large. I think probably 100 members from state and federal levels that are being paid off by the cartels. And that investigation has to happen. I believe it will happen when President Trump comes to office. One more thing I want to point out before we talk to some other folks, or whatever you want to do, Jack. If we can pan it over here, Eric. So across the street, so to show you, so we have the protesters. They're anticipating a large protest. We're going to start here. We're going to go outside and join the protesters. But there is a group of protesters, smaller group over here that you can see behind the planners over there. And these are uncommitted delegates that are planning on, unless they actually said, I was standing over there when they said it, unless their demands are met and they have a Palestinian speaker on stage by 6 p.m., they are not going to support Kamala Harris. So, whether or not that's just a moot point at that point, it really probably doesn't matter. But it's more of showing the division within the party. So that's what's happening out here. We're going to be talking to the folks, and then we're going to go out with the crazies out on the sidewalk.
Well, Ben, no, that's a crowd. We just got a minute until the break here, but we'll see. I tell you what we'll do is we'll come back to you if you do end up getting the crazies out there, because we need to show what's actually happening outside the DNC. The mainstream media is never going to do that, but the War Room will show you the ground truth. The War Room is where you come to find out what's actually going on in this country. The War Room is the place where we'll tell you what's going on behind the scenes, including, by the way, I'll even give you exclusive details on what's happening behind the scenes with this RFK surprise announcement.